Hello folks, welcome to the channel. I do hope everybody's keeping well on this slightly overcast day. Anyway, today I find myself out on this 2023 Honda CB750 Hornet, courtesy of my local Honda dealer, and that is Inmotion. So big shout out to all the chaps and chapesses down there, and in particular to Dan. So thanks Dan for allowing me to take this demonstrator bike out for a few hours. So those of you who don't know too much about the Honda Hornet, basically it was reintroduced back into the Honda range at the end of 2022, and this bike that I'm riding is a 2023 demo model. So a little bit of a history lesson. The Honda Hornet had been around from 1998 until 2013, I believe. They did a 600 and a 900, and basically it was a bike that was affordable, and basically it was a bike that was fun to ride. Sold heaps and heaps of them, but then 2013 Honda decided to can the Hornet, and then they introduced the Honda CB750, which I believe is still part of the Honda lineup. So anyway, here we are out on the Honda Hornet, and I've been riding it now for a couple of hours around my favourite test track roads, and I have to say, for a bike that is a small bike, it's got a bit of go to it, and it will certainly bring a smile to your face. So I think what we'll do, let's pop a few specifications up on the screen here just to let you know what we're talking about. So the Honda Hornet engine, then, it's a brand new engine for this bike, and I think also it's going to slot into the Honda Transalp or Translap, however that's pronounced. So it's a 755cc engine, and it's banging out about 75 newton meters of torque, 90.5 horsepower at 9,500 revs. So it's a 2-cylinder engine, and it's got a 270-degree crank, so it basically sounds like and feels like a V-twin kind of thing, but it's got a lot of poke, folks. That is the sort of one of the highlights of the bike is the engine. So yeah, from riding it so far, it's a pretty nifty bit of kit actually. And the other thing about the bike is it's a very almost too flickable kind of bike. So they're the main things actually. So Honda, when they reintroduced the Hornet, they wanted to be agile, fun, and coming in at a good price point. So let's talk about the price point then. So this comes in at, I don't know how they've done it, comes in at 6,000. I'm just having too much fun on this bike. It comes in at £6,999. So what do you get for your money then? So I think if I just start off and say what you don't get for your money, then we'll start from the front of the bike and then work our way back. So for that price, £6,999 of your hardest earned cash, what you're not going to get is, you're not going to get a centre stand, if that's a main issue to yourselves, and you can't get a centre stand either. So centre stand is not in the mix, and you're not getting a quick shifter, but you can actually go and buy one of those, and I would certainly recommend that you do. Why is it the buses always come out when you don't want them to? So yeah, I'd certainly recommend the quick shifter. I think it's £250, but I'll pop that up on the screen here. That would certainly be a worthwhile investment. Then the other thing, just talking all about the electronics package, because of where it's sort of pitched at that price point, 6,999. Is he going to let me through? No. 6,999. Then the actual type of electronics, you haven't got a IMU, so an inertial measurement unit, if that's what it's called. So when you bank the bike over in relation to the ABS and the traction control, they're not lean sensitive because they haven't got anything to tell the bike what the lean angle is, i.e. no IMU. So I'm just going to dispatch this bus. So there we go, nothing behind me. So I've dispatched the bus then, and it did that absolutely no problem whatsoever. So that's what the bike really hasn't got. But what does the bike have? Well, in spades, it's got a bit of a grin factor. yeah, it's quite a fun little bike to ride actually. So I think if you're new to riding and you're moving up from the lowest cc kind of bike, then you can get the A2 version of this, and then when you've got all the necessary ticks in the right boxes, you can unleash the full 90.5 horsepower on the bike. So yeah, somebody moving up through the power ranks, I think that will appeal to them. And also as a second bike, I think this would be really good as a second bike, because I've ridden around town and it's very, very commutable and filterable as well. So yeah, that's who I think the bike would be aimed at. Would be a new rider, somebody coming back to riding, or a second bike. So this bike does come with 2 years warranty from Honda, and I think you get 1 year roadside recovery. But having spoken to Dan today before I picked the bike up and rode it away, he did say that you can actually get a buy a third year warranty for the bike, because there are manufacturers now offering 3 years standard. That would be Suzuki. So this bike was launched to the media back in October 2022, and then loads of people have done reviews on it, so this is just a first ride impression. I haven't really read a bad review, if I'm being perfectly honest. So today's people, I think they just want real world bikes, and I think this bike is a real world bike with real world usable power, because I mean, let's face it folks, with all the speed enforcements and that kind of thing going on, a 200 horsepower bike is really not going to cut the mustard anymore on the roads, is it? And also insurance, but if you've got one of these bikes and you're a younger rider, then put a comment in the comment section down below just roughly how much your insurance was, so that other people who who are looking at getting one of these just want a bit more information as to how much the insurance may be going to cost them. But obviously that depends on where you live and is it garage and all that kind of stuff. Height wise, I think it's 795 millimeters is the seat height, and I don't think there is a short seat available, so that's it, that's what you get. But it is lower than the competition out there, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, the competition. So 795 millimeters, after you sir, is the seat height, and the balance of the bike is is really nice, very, very nice. It's not going to scare anybody, and the power is not going to scare anybody either. I'm 5'9", 85 kilograms out of the shower, and this is me sat on the bike, and I can absolutely no problem whatsoever flat foot the ground, yeah, no problems whatsoever. And the bars themselves, you're sat upright, it's a nice riding position, not too much weight on the wrists, yeah, very comfortable. So it is a nice place to be. So I think what we'll do, let's start from the front of the bike and then work our way back, and then we'll end up with my final thoughts. So the actual bike itself out the showroom is wearing the Michelin Road 5 tyres, and yeah, from what I've experienced so far, nice tyre. What I will say is it's wearing a slightly smaller tyre on the back. The front is a 120, the rear is a 160, normally they're about 180, so it's a narrower tyre, and I think with that narrower tyre, that is one of the reasons the whole thing it really is flickable, folks. But I think maybe the angle of the forks combined with the 160 tyre at the back, that certainly makes it flickable. So handling wise, yeah, no problems at all with the handling. It certainly goes where you want it to go. So the forks themselves then, they're the Showa forks, big piston forks, so they're decent quality. There's no adjustment on them though, and as I say, I'm 85 kilos, and even sort of jumping on the brakes, there's a bit of dive there, but you're not going to go over the handlebars. So the forks are a nice setup actually with those big piston forks. I had them on my Fireblade, and at the rear then you've got the ProLink, I think it is, and the only thing you can adjust on that is the preload, and you've got 5 preload settings that you can adjust on that. But folks, it's £6,999. It's built to a budget, and it's going to get you into motorcycling with a real good quality machine. So as we work our way up the bike then, the headlight unit, it's all the lights on the bike are LED, and the front headlight, it's got 4 sections to it, and then I don't know if that's 4 LED bulbs or 2 on the top, and then just using the reflective material they reflect them out the bottom 2 bits, or whether it's just 4 bulbs, I don't know. And then when you go to high beam on here, there's another bulb that comes on. But the handling is, whoa, you'll have so much fun with this. So that's headlights, and the indicators then, again, they're all LED all the way around, and typical Honda. I had an Africa Twin, same thing on here. The indicators on the front, they always stay on amber, and then when you go to indicate, then if you're turning left, the left one flashes and the right one stays solid. But that's just to, I don't know, that's just to, for a conspicuous, can't even say it, that's just to make you a bit more conspicuous. Other people have got an issue with that, but I think it's quite a good idea actually. And on the back you've got LED indicators, and they only come on when the turn signal is operated. It's nice to see that the radiator has got a radiator protective cover already installed, so you don't have to go out and spend any more money on that. And the engine itself, as we've already mentioned, that engine is a parallel 270 degree crank engine, banging out 90.5 horsepower, and below 4,000 revs, sorry Honda, I don't want to be cruel, it sounds a little bit like a big scooter, but when you get above 4,500 revs, there's a bit of a change in the exhaust tone, and this is what it sounds like at rest, at tick over, and when you rev it. So there we go, second gear, get to 4,500 revs, and then the sound changes to a bit more of a meaty sound. So yeah, and that's with the standard exhaust on it. Certainly for me, 85 kilos, above 4,000 revs, and it likes to pull really. It's a different character above 4,500 revs. Some of the initial reporters, when they did their road tests on this, they found it a little bit snatchy coming off the throttle and then going back on the throttle, and I have to say I've found that as well. So if you go off the throttle and then back on again, there's a little bit of slack in the throttle here. Although it's electronic throttle, there is a little bit of snatchiness when you go off and then back on the throttle. One thing I really hate, and a lot of people don't like it, is the position of the horn and the indicator button. I just wish they'd flip them around to be the same as all the other manufacturers. It really is just a pain in the backside. Maybe you'll get used to it, I don't know, but if you're jumping from bike to bike, if this is going to be a second bike, you may very well accidentally hit the horn when you're looking for the indicator, or hit the indicator when you're looking for the horn, that kind of thing. But the actual switchgear itself on the left hand side, very clean and very easy to operate with the gloved hand. Several buttons on the left hand side, then you've got the mode button, very easy to change the mode on here. We'll talk about the modes very soon. Then you've got the horn button, and we've already spoken about that, indicator, and then we've got the it's like a joystick, but it's not a joystick, and then you've got the hazard lights button down at the bottom. The 5-inch TFT screen is a really nice bit of kit. I think they've lifted it from the Honda CB750 and it's a lovely bit of kit. So 5-inch TFT, and just in relation to the screen itself, we've got all the information you need, and there's 4 types of dial presentation that you can select. So I've just got it on this one here. So there's 4 presentations you can choose, and you can also then choose 3 type of backgrounds. So there's 12 kind of variants you can have. So I've got the, as you can see here, whatever they call this one, and then I've chosen the metallic background. So yeah, it's a very customizable screen, and it's very easy to see. So on the top part you've got the time and then the temperature of the engine, and then you've got your main information in the middle. So you've got the rev counter, so it redlines it, yeah, just below 10,000 revs. You've got the nice big speedo indicator there, and then you've got the block bar fuel gauge, and I think when you've got 1 bar block left, you've got about 30 miles to go before you then have to start pushing the bike. And then on the right hand side, very simply, we've got the engine information and the electronics information as well. And then at the bottom we've just got some more information which is customizable. and you can just scroll through the bottom of the mat just using the bar here, and you can go through, I think there's 4 pages you can go through, so I've just left it on page 1, which gives us the total, and then fuel consumption and all that kind of thing, and then the date. So we've got 4 user modes. At the moment I'm in sport mode, so that's given me maximum power and minimum engine braking, or 1 block of engine braking and 1 block of traction control, which is actually combined with the wheelie control as well. So I could actually do some wheelies on this if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. And then the traction control combined with the wheelie control, they're sort of one of the same really. That would sort of just limit the amount of height that the bike would wheelie. The mode button here, really easy to select. Just press the mode button, close the throttle, and then it will select it. So we've got standard, which drops it down one notch of power, so you've got 2 out of 3 power units, and then you've got a bit more engine braking, and then a bit more traction control and wheelie control. And then the next one is rain. Just close the throttle and that will select it. So if I've got the throttle open, it will just flash it, which tells you to close the throttle. So rain mode, then I've got 1 bar of power, so that's minimum power. And that, yeah, you can really, that's full throttle open up there, and it's flat as a witch's proverbial. So yeah, that obviously does something. So that's going to be good for the rain for you newer riders. And it's got maximum traction control and 2 out of 3 of the engine braking. And then finally we've got user, so you can go into the menu and then customize the user. So for an economically priced motorbike, the screen itself is pretty impressive. It also comes with Bluetooth connectivity. Some bikes you've got to buy a separate Bluetooth module, but this is actually all in there ready to go. So with the app you can download it. I have downloaded it onto my phone, but I just haven't got time to show it on this quick ride out. So you can then listen to music, make phone calls, do some navigation. The screen splits on the right hand side. If I can put a picture up, I will do. Screen splits on the right hand side for turn by turn navigation, and then you can receive text messages as well. So again, you're getting a lot of stuff on the bike really. If you go into the menu, just a long press on the right hand side here, if it'll allow me to do it whilst we're riding. No, it won't, but you can go into the menu and you can switch off the self-cancelling indicators if you don't like that kind of thing. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do within that TFT, but that would be a separate video on its own. I didn't mention the colours that you can get, so you can get 4 flavours of colour. I'm going to put the pictures up here, and I sort of quite like the black actually. That would be the one that I would go for, the black. Yeah, I really like that one. Fuel range then, it's got a 15.2 litre tank, and that should give you about 220 miles before you have to get off and push. I've been on this bike now for a couple of hours, and the seat, right from the get-go, it's a fairly firm seat, but sometimes you need a firm seat, and I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever at the moment. And again, the riding position is nice, the bars aren't overly wide, and you're sitting upright, so it is a nice place to be. We've got the rear seat. There is no grab rail there, surprisingly, so if you're going to take passengers, they're going to grab around your waist, and to be honest, I wouldn't like to take any passengers on the back of this, but you can do. So if we have a look under the rear seat, the accessories that it comes with as standard, there is a USB-C connector, so you've got to get your USB-C and remove the rubber cap. And I actually found it was a bit of a faff, so I would actually buy a USB-C cable, peel back the rubber here, as you can see here, pop it in, and then sort of put the cable through the rubber hole and then leave it in there permanently. So that is a bit of a faff if you're just going to keep putting the cable in and out every time you get on the bike. So I'd put the cable in there and leave it in there permanently. You've also got a toolkit in there as well, so yeah, that's nice to see. And then you've also got on the underside of the pillion seat a couple of plastic hooks, and you can actually, using your D-rings on your helmet, you can actually secure your helmet to the rear pillion seat and go away and have some lunch or whatever you want to do. And then if you want to carry some luggage, I've got a roll bag here, and as you can see here on the underside of the seat, there's a couple of tabs that you can, or loops that you can pull out, and then you can, I've used some rock straps, just connected one strap to the rear hanger for the pillion foot pegs, and then the other one I've just tied through the loop on the underside of the seat, and I've attached a roll bag to the seat. So yeah, you can secure stuff to the back. Although there's no grab rails to loop anything around, it is possible to do it. So the handling on the bike is really nice actually. Slow speed, but it is, you know, with that 160 section rear tyre, I think that does help the flickability of the bike. So riding along then 40 miles an hour. The actual, although it's a naked bike, I'm actually quite surprised at how little I'm being buffeted around. It's a real comfortable place to be, folks. It really is. So the good thing about twin cylinder engines, if you've never ridden a twin cylinder before, is that they've got low down torque, and this has got, you know, plenty of low down torque for the size of the engine. And then it's actually got a shorter stroke, so that means it will rev out a bit higher as well, which is what they were after. So when the designers sort of had their brief, it was supposed to be fun, fast and agile, and it is fun. It's pretty rapid actually, and it's with that 160 section rear tyre, it's certainly agile, so it's certainly a flickable bike, and it goes and it stops all right as well. And if you've got one, please make some comments in the comment section down below. But really flickable. Very nice. Good job, Honda. Good job. Mirrors, yeah, mirrors are fine. Somebody said you just get a view of your shoulders, but I've got mine set, and yeah, I've got no problems with them at all. One thing I didn't mention is that it's also got a slipper clutch. Honda do a load of accessories for this. You can get different kinds of packs. I'll put them up here so you can spend some more money and accessorize the bike out to your heart's content. If you want something that's a bit noisier, then SC Project do an exhaust for it, which is approved by Honda. Just buy it through them. But one thing I think, folks, is an absolute must, is you must get the quick shifter for this for 250 odd pounds. I think you'd be doing yourself an injustice by not having the quick shifter on this. Definitely I'd spend the 250 quid on that. You'll have more fun on the bike, simple as. So I think they've ticked all the boxes with this one on the design brief: fast, agile and fun. Yeah, it certainly is, and you can filter to your heart's content. It's a narrow bike. It weighs 195 kilos, I think it is. If that's not right, I'll amend it on the screen up here. But yeah, you don't feel the weight at all. And the tank, with my knees, it's the tank sort of sculpted in, and it's very nice, so you can sort of lock your knees in and grip the tank. So yeah, it's a good job, Honda. So dislikes, then the only thing what I wish they would do is, well, I think it's missing a belly pan. I think just to add to the finish, to put the sting in the tail of the Hornet. I think it would be lovely if they would have put, it's all right mate, no problems, would have been nice if they'd have put a belly pan on there. That'd have been really good. But obviously it's 6,999, so they've got to draw the line somewhere. But yeah, I think there's a couple of UK companies looking at putting belly pans on these. So there's no cruise control. I don't think that's an option, and I'm not sure whether heated grips is an option as well. Woohoo! Yeah, it's certainly got some pep to it. Good job, Honda. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention as I'm riding along in slow moving traffic, typical rush hour traffic, is that there's no rear hugger to this. So that might be one of the first bits of equipment that you go out and get, is a rear hugger, because I think you are going to have dirt absolutely chucked up all over the place because I ain't got a rear hugger. Right, let's do a little bit of filtering. There's nothing coming. Very narrow bike, really easy to filter on, nicely balanced. Yeah, really nice. If I haven't mentioned it, the gearbox is quite nice as well. Fairly easy to find neutral, not a problem. Well folks, I've had a couple of hours on the Honda CB750 Hornet, so my final thoughts then, I think they've come up with a cracking machine. There is a bit of competition out there, notably the Suzuki GSX-8S, and that's a mouthful to say. You've got Yamaha's MT-07, the KTM 790. I know all about the KTM. I've got or did have a KTM 890R, which coincidentally I've just sold today. So they would seem to be the main bikes that have pitted up against this, and maybe the Triumph 660 as well. But from a price point of view, for 6,999, yeah, I would chuck in the quick shifter, put a rear hugger on it. What else would I do? Yeah, I think that would be it. I think, unless I've missed anything out, I think people will buy the bike based on the looks. Not sure which look I would prefer. I like this in black with a red frame, but each to their own. Let's do a bit of filtering here. It's got plenty of pep, just to show that it can be done. He's on a Triumph 765. Woohoo! There we go. No gloves, no jacket. Awesome. Yeah, 90.5 horsepower, really good. Yeah, it's a good little machine. Good range from the tank, comfortable, stops well, turns well. It does turn very quick. Yeah, maybe that's to do with that 160. Well, that's definitely to do with that 160 tyre at the back, but I think you will get used to that. I'm used to my GS with a bigger fat tyre. So folks, I think it's a real big thumbs up for Honda. I think they've done a cracking job. All you need to do is just go down to your local Honda dealer. In my case, it's Inmotion. Have a cup of tea, coffee, and go and take one out for a test ride. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised from this little package. It's a cracking little bike, and yeah, it certainly made me smile. And as the bigwigs at Honda wanted this bike to be, they wanted to be fun, agile and fast, and yeah, I think it ticks all those boxes. Well, that's it folks, I am back at Inmotion, my local Honda dealer. A big shout out to Dan for allowing me to take this lovely little Honda Hornet out. I've enjoyed my several hours on it, so if you're interested in this bike, then get down to your local dealer and take it out for a bit of a ride. Certainly impressed with this little bike. For 6,999, you cannot go wrong. As ever, ride safe, make any comments in the comment section down below. Lovely little bike, well done Honda, it's a cracking little machine, and take care, and we'll see you all again soon in the next video. Cheerio for now, bye. Nice, we like that. Woohoo! So the side stand, yeah, really nice to operate, very easy to find the little bobble in the end. Yeah, good little side stand thing that.